So I've decided to do commentary for my latest Artfight attack, as I'm really proud of it and I just really enjoy participating in Artfight every year, but I never really record my process or do anything interesting like that. I also never do commentary for this kind of thing. Apologies if it's kind of rough, it's not scripted, I don't have a mic, so you can just hear my fan because it's really warm here. I'm also sick currently, so my voice is kind of rough, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. I don't know who's going to watch this, but I really enjoy discussing the process. I really like this one, so. There's also some weird cuts and just editing things, again, do this kind of thing, so I'm a bit inexperienced, but I figured it could be fun and interesting to talk about. My art fight is Arden's Garden, probably just link it in the description if anyone wants to see. I don't imagine my username will change, it's been like that for like 3 years. Hope you guys enjoy. So in preparation, before I actually started the project, I had basically made a collage using 3D models that I had posed, using this website that offers like very basic sort of models you can manipulate. I'll put that link in the description. Like, I made a collage of sorts using the flowers that I wanted to be included in the piece, and they've all got their own meanings. It's very cool. And then I did like little sketches of where I wanted like the river and the tree and things like that. That's all in like a separate image that I had with a bunch of references, and I drew grid lines over the top of them so that I could get the like positioning correct when I actually began drawing them, because I really struggle with anatomy and I always mess it up, so the grid is just to help. You know, art teachers always suggest it. It works really well. Here I'm on the line art stage. I really enjoy doing line art, but it does take like 50 billion years. I think by this point I was almost an hour in. My goal was just to add as much texture and sort of line weight as possible. I really enjoy traditional art, so I tried to make it sort of feel like I was using a pen in real life. The brush that I use is called Expressive Ink, and I found it on the Clip Studio store. I could try and put that in the description, the actual like link to it, if anyone else wants to use it. I love this brush with my heart and soul. I think it really just captures the like texture that traditional art has that you can't quite get in digital, which is really nice. For this I didn't actually include the clothing in the actual sketch because I honestly couldn't be bothered. I was originally just gonna like do a really rough sketch over the top of that and then clean it up, but I just sort of went straight onto the line art. I mean, I was already like an hour in at this point, and I was like, I'm speeding this up a little bit. The outfit has a lot of layers, which I really enjoyed working with, like to figuring out the folds and the creases and all that. It was a lot of fun. It does kind of hide all the anatomy that I worked really hard to figure out and actually sketch, but it's okay. There's not a lot to add in this part, to be honest, because it is just line art for ages, so I'll give a little bit of context on the actual characters. Normally in Artfight you don't know who you're attacking, it's a bit of a mystery, but it just so happens that the person that I'm attacking is my cousin, my actual cousin who I make original characters with, and these two are in our own universe, like they fit into our vampire story. But they're so irrelevant from like the main guys, they just sort of do their own thing, that they're more her OCs than my OCs, which is completely fine because I have characters like that as well. The character laying down with the blue hair is called Lane, and the character sort of holding him is called Rennie. And obviously I know about them, I've been told about them, and I know what their deal is, mostly, from what with a little bit of information that I'm told. But I won't probably share that here, and don't know if that's like something I'm supposed to share. But I've never actually drawn them before, despite having seen them be drawn a lot, and I know that Red, my cousin, really enjoys them. I do love them a lot, I love their designs, I think they're... And I'm pretty much wrapping it up with the line art right now. As you can see, I'm just adding thicker lines to sort of add some line weight that I didn't add earlier. And it also makes them stand out against the background, which isn't going to be lined. I start with monochrome colours, which a lot of artists seem to do, and it's a new method that I'm trying out. I pretty much just do a rough sketch of the background using black and white, just to get sort of an idea where everything will be laid out. I tried to add like a duality of things with like the two trees and the river splitting to show their relationship, I guess, and the flowers, obviously they each get their own flower, and then there's some that they have collectively. Now I'm doing the actual character shading, which I'm just sort of, I wanted to make it fit in with the environment better, hence why it's all being done together. I hate doing backgrounds, I don't normally do them. I'm really bad at them, but I tried to challenge myself this year. I've only done backgrounds for Artfight like once. I had a pre-prepared sort of colour palette because I'm kind of bad at picking my own, and I basically used gradient maps and just messed about until I got something good. As you can see, I settled for this, and then I went a layer above that to do the colouring. I sort of switch up the like layer blending mode that I'm using like constantly to try and figure out what works and what doesn't, obviously because Lane is blue and Rennie is like red. I had to try and figure out how that would work in the background, but I eventually settled for a hard light at 60%, which I wrote down. I don't know if you caught that. And for now I'm just doing Rain? This always happens. Lane's coat, which is has a lot of patterns, and I really like those patterns. But obviously it's just a rough sketch for now. I don't usually put a lot of like effort into this part because I just want to get the rough sketch down and then I can properly render and everything. Now I'm just going onto the background to colour and trying to make it all fit in together. While I colour, I'll explain all the flower meanings. So the blue flowers that are next to Lane is the iris flower, which represents hope and trust. He had a pretty bad backstory, not a great time, so the hope is sort of just like a general hope for the future. And next to Rennie is the daffodil, which means new beginnings, which is very similar in a way, but the idea is that she sort of leaves where she came from for the start of something new. That could also apply to both of them and sort of changing and growing together. There are other flowers, and I don't remember what they're called. Obviously, you can see in the reference pictures which ones I used. Couldn't tell you which one. For the grass and things like that, I basically just added a lot of pink and smudging it into the grass just to incorporate pink into the piece. It's actually not pink though if you colour pick it. It's like this weird sort of cyan, which is strange. Colour theory is interesting. Onto Lane's face now, I pretty much just blended it and tried to make it not look too chunky, but also not too blended, because if you blend it too hard, it just sort of takes forever. For his hair, I just love doing hair. I just wing it. I don't really have a thought process. I just try and make it look shiny and nice. I love doing trees so much. They are like genuinely, I think, my favourite thing to paint ever. I love adding like ridges and things. For the flowers, I tried to basically do it as simply as possible. Initially I was going to line everything and I just knew it would take literally forever. So I pretty much just basically added like simple colour blocks and then used expressive ink to like make like the vague shape of a flower and then added layers. It was quick, it was easy, and I think it looks okay. Then I just added more into the ground to make it look like he had a shadow. Because of the brush that I use, which is just the brush pen that comes with Clip Studio Paint, a lot of the time things will be very reflective and nice, and I love this brush and I'm using it for the leaves and the flowers and things like that. Earlier when I was doing the grass, a bit of the coat's gold ended up in the grass, but it made it look reflective. So that's sort of what I mean by reflective there. I'm using that same brush here to make the mountains and the leaves. They originally were just supposed to be big boulders, but they just sort of look quite mountainous, and I thought it would be quite nice for you. This story takes place in England. I don't know why there are mountains of that scale. I guess they travel. I'm just adding some pink flowers just to incorporate pink into the piece. I think they're very cute and very sweet. I don't think there's any symbolism there really. I wanted this to look flowery and lovely and nice. Oh, onto the daffodils, which I think are my favourite flowers that I've done here. They just look really shiny for some reason. Just adding other little bits of flowers around the area, and onto the other tree, which I'm using the brush pen again for the tree. I just really like how it smudges. A little swirl there, which I really love doing tree swirls. I just like doing trees. I really enjoy it. Making me do more trees. Onto Rennie's face, I tried to make her eyes more red because they are red, but they sort of became green from the colouring, so I tried to amplify that. I really don't have a tactic for rendering. I just sort of wing it and try and see what looks nice. I guess I have some inspo in terms of like the way that other artists colour, and I try and sort of use that. For her hair, I just tried to make it look curly and like soft and round, so I used little round shapes. I really love rendering hair. I think it's my favourite part. I guess it's because I did animals for so many years. I'm just so like tuned in for fur and things of that nature. For her clothes, I pretty much just added more depth because it wasn't really there in the sketch, and just blended it in. I really enjoyed doing the clothes actually. It was quite fun. For her hands, I tried to make them look calloused and rough because that was what was in the reference sheet, and I like doing things with the hands. I like making them look interesting. I really like how I did the sleeve here. I like the shapes that I did. I'm quite happy with that. Onto Lane's sleeve, which I was not looking forward to this. I wanted to get this out of the way because I was not looking forward to doing the sleeve. I tried to do it basically as simplistically as possible, and just did like a 3-step plan of just smudging it and then adding a shine and then filling in the gaps, if that even makes any sense. And I did that again for the collar because I knew if I took forever on this, I wouldn't enjoy it, and I never want to do it ever again. Again, I added more shading to his shirt, and then I added more depth to the jacket as well, because it wasn't really that much. For the coat, I tried the same method that I did for the flowers in the background to make them look more realistic. I'm really happy with how they look. They look quite patchwork, I don't know. And then I did the same thing for like the frills at the bottom of the shirt, or the lining, whatever that is, I'm not actually sure. Just added more to the background here, and added more to the sleeve, just pretty much wrapping things up in the like colouring area. I really like the way that I did these boots. I think it's my favourite part of the whole piece. I don't know why, like the shine, I'm just really happy with the shine. I do love colouring this part. I did enjoy that. Yeah, added more roughness to the hands. Just, the hands were pretty much like the last thing that I did. I really like colouring hands. It's a lot of fun. After this, I went a layer above the line art layer, and then used a clipping mask to colour it and just make it look nice. After that, I basically just added different colour layers and tried to like mess around to like make the colours look nice. Then I added little grass tufts to make it look like they were actually in the environment more. This is pretty much just adding little bits here and there to finish it up. Just, I obviously know I'm going to end it soon. Here I'm adding highlights and things. I basically colour pick and then go like a little bit brighter to add a sort of shine. This is definitely my favourite part. I just feel like it brings the whole piece together. I really enjoy doing it. And I basically just put it on like the edge of the liner, or like where I think that a shine's going to be, like on Lane's coat there. I squiggle to sort of make it look shiny. Here I'm adding like an overlay pink layer just to enhance the actual pink in the piece, and then I just like add little bits and pieces that I wanted to change, and then it's all done. Yay! This is definitely my favourite piece I've ever done on Artfight. I'm really glad that I challenged myself to actually do a full scene and not just characters standing in a void. Obviously there's still room for improvement, and I'm going to try and keep improving, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this.